I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Lane Splitter by Christenson Surfboards. So we would have seen a while ago we brought out the initial thoughts. I think I had one or two surfs on Lane Splitter. I think I had two, one in big pumping surf and one in small dribble surf. I've checked the board out a little bit more, found out a bit more about it, but not a lot has changed. And a bit of a disclaimer, my fondness for this board has stalled up other reviews, so I apologise now. So looking over the Lane Splitter, this is, I believe, a stock 5.9. So it's 5.9, 20 1/8, 2.5, and it's 31.7 litres. I got a lot of questions from the review and through Instagram about volumes. Christenson seems like a pretty cool guy. He's not that keen on volumes, and a lot of people are very fixated on him. So it's pretty hard to find volumes on some of his boards. I saw he shaped my mate a board the other day, and when it says litres, it says half a dolphin. But if you go to onboardstore.com.au, I think it's .com.au. Anyway, look up Onboard Store. They sell Christensons in Australia, and they have the volumes for the Lane Splitters and I believe other Christenson boards. So yeah, this is the 5.9. It's 31.7 litres. So looking over the Lane Splitter. Little bit of lift through the nose, nothing crazy, pretty flat through the back, lift through the nose. And what's really cool, it's got this epic little beak, and the beak will hold a lot of volume up under the front. And you notice that when paddling and surfing, it gives you it makes paddling really, really easy. And it feels like a board much bigger when paddling, but not when surfing, than 31.7 litres. And in return, you get more waves, but it also gives the board this epic down the line flow. And I think that comes from this really nice sweet spot of volume up the front here. Flipping it over, down the front, it has a single, it says, but it feels like I can feel the stringer kind of coming through. But you know, going off speaking to people, a light single through the front, nothing too crazy. But then out the back, through the center here, from about here, it flattens a tiny bit through tail, but there's just this V. I don't think it's a double. If it's a double, it's really, really light. But there's a V, which I think you'll be able to see through there, which is huge. And then it just makes, and it flattens out a tiny bit on the tail, but there is still a V that comes off the tail there. So putting the board from rail to rail, especially as you can see, there's these two little nice edges where it pulls in tight. When you've got the sharpness of that edge and then that V, turning from rail to rail and going through turns when it's feeling grippy and that, and I'll talk a bit more about that later, this bit here feels absolutely amazing. When it's on, it feels amazing. And then, yeah, it's got a fullish has kind of Christenson's signature rail. Yeah, it's full. It's a fairly full rail. The deck is fairly flat and it holds a lot of volume to the rail from about like, you know, a quarter down until it gets a bit thinner here. But through this center, there's a fair bit of foam that holds, you know, foam really, really nicely. Like I said, it's not overly volumed. I normally run about 31 litres in a short board. So 31.7, it's a tiny bit more. But when paddling and going down the line and just trying to flow between sections, it feels a lot bigger. So yeah, we put out our initial thoughts. I've surfed the board a whole lot more since then. Had a few times filming it. Haven't been filming a whole lot, but had a lot of surfs. And the thing is an absolute dream. The board feels like the best of kind of three boards. It's a twin fin, so it's a pure twin. No stabilizer, needed. But it's a pure twin. Surfs like a twin fin. Sometimes it feels like it surfs like a performance shortboard because there isn't too much that it can't do. And sometimes it actually feels like a mid-length when you're going down the line. So yeah, we've had some pretty fun banks. Waves haven't been pumping, or at least when I've been surfing, but we've had some fun banks. And whether it's been kind of like 1 foot or probably 2 foot junk, you know, so about waist high, through to 6 foot and kind of pumping waves, this is the board that I've been riding. Even when you're kind of verging on something like maybe you'd want to ride a step up or something, this has been what I've been jumping on because it feels like there isn't too much it can't do. In saying that, I haven't done it before. I'm going to put up a few clips and I'm going to break down my surfing on it because there are a few little things, a few nuances of the board that you have to get used to. And in saying that, I'm talking about, you know, it might be a surf, it might be a wave of getting used to, but if you don't get used to them, the board is pretty tricky. So as you can see, there's this nice little flyer kind of bump that pulls into a tighter and rounded square tail. And this is where all the kind of trickiness is. So when you're surfing and you have this edge in the water, there's a lot of grip. So if you're bottom turning, you've only got these two twin fins. As I said, a stabilizer isn't really needed. There's a lot of grip here and it feels amazing. But if you go to transition, you got to roll over onto a rail and maybe your foot's a bit further back. Once you lose that grip and you go into this thinner and narrower tail and you got that V, sometimes it feels like the board just wants to jump out of the water. But you know, I've got a clip where I'll put up one wave. I felt it like as I lean into this front side kind of wrap, straight away, like I'm not even like leaning over and end up just going through this kooky turn. But straight away, I feel like this isn't gonna work. This board's gonna jump out of the water. I'm going too fast. I'm putting too much pressure on it and my foot isn't in the right spot to utilize that really nice grip of that sharp flyer. And I'm right over the back in this thinner tail. You know, during that kooky turn, which you'll see, you know, I repositioned my foot and then my turns after, I always knew I had to move my foot around and be in the right spot. And I think you can actually see if you have a close look, there's, you know, I'm normally on the tail pad. I'm not a guy that has my foot, you know, on the very, very kick or whatever, but I'm normally around here. But I don't know if you can see, but there's a whole bunch of pressures here from a lot of different surfing, because like I said, you can jump up the board, create a really nice like flowy high line kind of surfing, and you know, your back foot might be up here, but you can also kind of turn off this area. So I've got a whole bunch of pressures here from my foot and my heel, and probably under the tail pad as well. But yeah, you do utilize this whole area. It's not like a board where you'll just go, bang, foot's in the right place, I'm gonna surf. You will have your foot kind of moving all over the place just to get the very best out of the board. Like I said, I've surfed in a whole variety of conditions. We've got a whole bunch of clips, some waves that were really, really fun. We've had some good banks, and but yeah, in the initial thoughts, I reached out and asked people for a few questions, anything they'd like to see. People made a lot of comments around the fins. So in the initial thoughts, we had the twin fins, which is the Christenson FCS Christenson upright twin. And this is the fin I stuck with. I got lots of comments about trying it with a keel. I tried the FCS power twins. I don't have the Christenson keels. I tried the power twins and it didn't feel good at all. So it needs an upright twin. What really blew me away about this fin is if you look at it, it's not super upright. Like I also surfed like the MR and stuff, like other fins that I had, but this isn't a huge, the surface area on this fin is not big. And it also has an almost keel shape. When I did collect them from FCS, I did say to the guys, I was like, are these the keels? And they're like, no, these are the upright ones. So they are a pretty unique template. They probably sit more between, say, an MR and your traditional keel fin. And these were absolutely perfect. I know you can get it with a stabilizer in the center, and that'd be fine. Like I said, it would probably eliminate the jumping out of the water and that looseness you get when you step back here. But that's actually what I really liked about the board. When I kind of, you know, nailed it down, I felt like I was surfing well and I knew where to have my feet. That was one of the funnest aspects of the board, was this kind of superior looseness. And the board can go from this really tight, grippy feel to this really nice, loose, kind of free feeling. That was, yeah, so personally, I wouldn't get a center, like a stabilizer. So I got some other questions around surfing on my backhand. So I'm a natural footer, catching rights, you'll see. I got a few lefts that I'll put up. But where we surf, I don't know, I tend to just have right-hander, so I don't go left too much. But on my backhand, it felt really good. I think bottom turning on my backhand, my foot's quite far forward, so I'm over that grippy area. But then you'll see on some of the turns, I move back and it's quite free and it releases really well on the lift. So backhand, forehand surfing, no real difference. I know with like the Christenson fish and other fishes, sometimes surfing like little fishes, twin keels on your backhand can be a bit funny. Not this. That's when it kind of comes more into that performance shortboard area. We're going right, left, forehand, backhand. There is no difference. You know, apart from I think the grip thing, like getting used to that, I can't really fault this board. Like Christenson's a phenomenal shaper and he's made some amazing boards over the years. I've had his fishes, mid-lengths. I had a 10.6 glider. I had a shortboard once. I had the Gurr, Cafe Racer. They're all epic, but this would be my favorite. Yeah, if I had to walk away now with probably one board, shortboard or anything, this would be right up there. Because, you know, living in Sydney, we kind of get waves, you know, 1 to 6 foot from pretty average to fun to good sometimes. And this covers the majority of conditions where I surf, and it does it really well. Look, overall, I think I've said enough. I absolutely love the lane splitter. Lots and lots of fun. Thanks so much to Onboard and Christenson, and also FCS for the fins, for the chance to check this out. It's been one of the funnest and favourite boards I've checked out in a long time. And yeah, hopefully you get a chance to check one out. If you've got any questions or anything else you want, hit us up below in the comments. Also hit us up on Instagram at the Surfboard Guide. We're pretty active there. You can see boards we're checking out. You know, you can ask any questions, anything else you don't want to put in that public forum, you can DM us or whatever, let us know. Anyway, thanks again for the board and the opportunity to check it out, and hopefully you get a chance to check one out too. Thanks so much for watching.